Alright guys, well I'm back today taking a look at the new Ruger LC Carbine Chamberlain 5.7x28. The LC Carbine is available in 3 different calibers, the 5.7 that you see here, 45 and 10mm. Now I personally selected the 5.7 because I thought it was the most interesting in this specific setup because of a few different reasons. One, a great PDW style personal defense option, or this can also double as a ranch rifle or a farm rifle or even a nice little varmint hunting rifle. All of these kind of roll into one incredibly nice package, and this one is easy to use. It can also be incredibly compact with a folding stock and very versatile with a monolithic pick rail and M-lock slots all over this rifle. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the philosophy, and then we'll talk about the specs and features of this rifle and why I personally like it so much. Now, a huge shout out to Ruger for sending this out to the channel for us to test and evaluate. I requested the 5.7, and I'm glad I did because it's been running really well. I also want to give a huge shout out to AAC. 5.7 is getting more and more popular, and AAC has been making some really good 5.7 lately. I love the fact that you can also get 40 grain FMJ, which was previously a little bit harder to find, especially something that was reliable and accessible. So thanks to AAC for always helping out and supporting the channel. Now let's dig back into the rifle. Now, I already touched on a little bit of the philosophy why you may want something like this. For me, a 5.7 would be a good personal defense round up close, especially with the mag capacity and the round capabilities inside close quarters distances, especially 50 yards and in, or even really 10 or 15 yards and in when you're talking about car or home defense. The other cool thing is if you're looking for like a bug out rifle or a rifle that you're going to take in some type of survival or emergency situation, the 5.7 round is incredibly light. And when you look at how many rounds right here, I believe this is a 50 round box, and it is incredibly small right here. So you could pack a ton of rounds in a backpack, a camping bag, something like that, and tote them with you. The other cool thing about 5.7 is there's not a ton of bullet drop like 9mm at distances, which also makes this great as something like a varmint rifle or a ranch rifle. We went beaver hunting the other day on my pastor's pond on his farmland, or actually his hunting land, and we were using 17 HMR for the very same style concepts, something that could reach out for a pretty good distance, be effective on a varmint-sized animal, yet not have a ton of bullet drop. And when you compare the bullet drop of a 5.7 with a 9mm, you start to see a pretty stark difference, making the 5.7 very attractive for shooting out to 100 yards. Now, the 5.7 will drop at about 3.8 inches from 0 to 100 yards, whereas a 9mm can exceed a 14-inch drop. Now, between 50 to 100 yards, if you got this guy sighted in at 50 for kind of close quarters personal defense distance, you're looking at about a 3-inch drop from 50 to 100. Again, making this very easy to adjust and make impacts at 50 to 100 with ease, and that'll be great for those varmint-style situations, whereas a 9mm would fall short when it comes to understanding that bullet drop at a distance. It could be a little bit more confusing and a little bit more complicated to make shots at 100 versus something like a flatter shooting round. Now, the other thing about 5.7 over 17 or something like that, when you're considering a varmint rifle, is the fact that these are centerfire cartridges. They're going to have a little bit more power close up, and they're going to be more effective for personal defense. So that is why I would personally select a 5.7 over 17 when you're talking about a dual purpose role, something for personal defense and a varmint rifle. Now, with that philosophy out of the way, let's start from the front, work our way to the back, and talk about the specs and features. What we are looking at on this rifle is thread pitch at the front of 1/2x28, which is incredibly convenient to add whatever type of can you want to add on the end of this thing if you decide to run it suppressed. And again, that is really nice when we are talking about varmint hunting or a ranch rifle. You can throw like a micro can on the end of this, not to add a ton of length, and then you can shoot without ears. Now, I don't know if it's going to be quite hearing safe, but it's definitely going to be a lot better than taking shots without the can on the end, and it's definitely going to be a lot safer for your ears. Now, we have a twist rate of 1-9 right hand, and the overall weight of this entire rifle is about 5.9 pounds to keep things in the perspective. The barrel length on this guy is 16.25 inches, just over the legal length of 16 inches, and the length of pull will be adjustable. We'll talk about that in the stock portion of this review. The barrel is surrounded by an M-lock design And you'll notice there is no gas system or anything in here. This is just a straight blowback mass damper system that you would expect out of a 5.7. Now the receiver finish, and I assume the rail finish, is going to be that same Type 3 hard anodized coating. And then the barrel itself, as you see right here, is actually going to be a spiral fluted nitride coated barrel, which is perfect for corrosion resistance. You have M-LOK slots at the bottom, on the sides, and a monolithic pick rail at the top, which I really like because it allows you to add your optics, your lights, your lasers, whatever you can possibly think of across one solid piece and have really nice mounting footprints for a wide variety of applications, especially if this was going to be a varmint getter on the ranch. Maybe you see a coyote at 50 yards and you want to run an illuminator at night. You can do that. Put the pressure switch right here and you're good to go. Or maybe you want to run an IR aiming device or some type of laser. That's going to be a good option as well. The flat top also allows you to put an LPVO wherever you want, or run a red dot, something like that. I personally like running an LPVO on this right now. We have a SIG LPVO from Optics Planet. Huge shout out to these guys. Full review coming soon. It made it up perfectly with this 5.7. When we are looking at the receiver, you will see a non-reciprocating charging handle on the left side. Works out really well. The safeties are very intuitive and completely ambi, so that's really nice as well. The mag release on the opposing side is also very easy and just basic to use. It pops out of there very nicely. And don't worry, YouTube, the mag capacity on these is 20, well below that YouTube demonetization restriction limit. So don't get me on this video, YouTube, although I have a feeling they will. Now, everything about the receiver is intuitive. It works well. It functions well. And this is where I want to talk a little bit reliability, especially with the AAC 5.7, 100% functional down at the range. And I've had other 5.7 rifles on the channel where occasionally you'll get a bobble. It just happens to be that blowback system with a 5.7. You may have one out of every few hundred, 300-400 rounds have a bobble. I didn't see that with this, and I ran a lot of the AAC 5.7 as well as a few other brands with no issues whatsoever. This thing chugged along beautifully. Love to see it, but honestly, I expect that out of Ruger. I've been shooting and owning Rugers for years now, and they just really work out well. On the back, you do have a folding stock. This can be fired while folded or completely deployed, obviously. Pick rail at the back, so you can swap that out with whatever you want. You kind of pull up a little bit on this and flip it back over. Maybe a little hard to do on camera. There we go. Not too bad. And then you also have the adjustable stock on the end of here for a ton of modularity. In summary, if you're looking for a ranch rifle, varmint rifle that also doubles as like a personal defense rifle, the Ruger LC Carbine really makes a great option in my humble opinion. It really does a lot of things well. About the only thing that it wouldn't do for me would be take larger game, but that's not really what it was designed for, and I like it. I like it a lot. I think you might too. Thanks to Ruger for sending it out. Thanks to AAC for the ammo support. Thanks to you guys for watching. Have a good one.